The San Francisco 49ers, owners of the best record in the NFL, will bring you tonight the most spectacular showcase the league has to offer. To begin, Santa has brought for your viewing pleasure Steve Young. Finally and convincingly out from under Joe Montana's long shadow, he is on his way to an unprecedented fourth consecutive passing title and has thrown an NFL best and team record 34 touchdown passes. Among the other gifts that the 49ers will unwrap for you tonight is the incredible Jerry Rice. As the player many consider to be the best ever at his position, the record-breaking Rice is the kind of present that all quarterbacks dream of finding under their tree. And this year, the 49ers toy collection features an impressive defense with stars like the inimitable Deion Sanders, who has emerged as a perfect stocking stuffer for their secondary in 1994. While their sights are firmly set on the Super Bowl trophy, that present must wait until January 29th. But tonight, the 49ers bring their holiday show to Minnesota for their final regular season performance. It's the 49ers and Vikings as we wrap up our 25th season of ABC's Monday Night Football.
San Fran wrap it up tonight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? For Monday Night Party? We got Frank and Al and Dan. They're gonna get it kick-started. Lynn and the crew's all set. The crowd is psyched, 'cause all my rowdy friends are back for Monday.
The Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis, home of the Minnesota Vikings. The Dome sold out tonight in a very festive mood. The high-flying San Francisco 49ers are here to help the Vikings close out their 1994 season. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Dierdorf, and welcome to the Metrodome. And in this year of complicated playoff scenarios, well, we've got one for you tonight that's relatively simple. The Minnesota Vikings are 9-6 coming into tonight. They know that they have already clinched a wild card spot. They know they'll play a week from Sunday, whether they win or lose tonight. But if they win tonight, they will tie Chicago, Green Bay, and Detroit in the Central Division. But they will win 9-7, they're all 9-7, but they would win on the tiebreaker. And if they win tonight, they know that they will face Chicago in that first playoff game to be played a week from Sunday here, a team they have beat 6 consecutive times, a team without Barry Sanders. And if they lose, they will play the Detroit Lions, a team that beat them 9 days ago, 41-19, and a team with Barry Sanders. Meanwhile, the high-flying 49ers, what can you say about them, Al? They've got it in the best gear you possibly, in a zone no one's been in a long time, maybe ever in football. And now is let them play, keep them warm, keep them loose, but don't get anybody hurt.
10 straight wins and an astonishing 36 points per victory are they averaging over the last 2.5 months. I think the question is this the best 49er team ever? They've won 4 Super Bowls following the 81, 84, 88, and 89 seasons. Most people think the 84 team was the best, the team of Montana and Clark and the emerging stars Roger Craig and Ronnie Lott, a team that lost only 1 regular season game and blitzed Miami 38-16 in the Super Bowl. That remains to be seen. As far as tonight's game is concerned, if they were to toast tonight's game, it would be to our health. They just want to get out of here without any injuries. And to that end, look for Steve Young to play a half or less, Jerry Rice to play a half or less, and the same thing with Ricky Waters. But no matter who they throw out on the field, the 49ers are tough to beat as they take on the Vikings, and the Vikings are going to the playoffs, but still incentive for Minnesota tonight, Dan.
The incentive, I think, Al, is to play well. This was a football team that after 9 games was 7-2, and really the NFC Central was just conceded to them. As Frank documented, they really would like to win tonight to move to 10-6 so they could win their division. But to do so, they're going to have to do it without the leader of their football team, and that is 38-year-old Warren Moon. 9 days ago in that loss against Detroit, he injured the ligament in his left knee, and Denny Green and Warren Moon both are saying even if this was a playoff game tonight, there's no way that Moon can go. Now, who does that give the pressure to? Squarely on the shoulders of Sean Salisbury, the 31-year-old much-traveled quarterback who has not taken a single snap the entire 1994 season. He hasn't even been active. What does he have to do tonight? Try to win the division against the best team in football.
A tough game to figure under all of the prevailing circumstances. A capacity crowd at the Metrodome. Fuad Reveiz has had a fabulous year. He's going to the Pro Bowl. He'll kick off to Dexter Carter and Nate Singleton. It's a short kick, and it's Dexter Carter fielding it at the 16-yard line, coming straight up the middle, all the way out to the 36-yard line. Dave Garnett makes the tackle. Now this incredible San Francisco offense, minus a couple of parts, however, tonight. Young gets the start. We will see Elvis Grbac, his backup, later. Ricky Waters begins in the backfield with the good-looking rookie William Floyd, but John Taylor won't start. Jerry Rice is on the other side of Singleton, and Popson replaces the injured Brent Jones at tight end. Wallace, Sapolo, Oates, Deese, and Barton up front, with Sapolo and Oates going to the Pro Bowl. On first down, they begin with Ted Popson, and it's just another interchangeable part. Brent Jones, there he is, not in uniform tonight. Nothing real serious, just a thigh bruise. He's off tonight. They're off next week. We'll see him in the playoffs. Let's take a look at the defensive unit now for the Vikings. John Randall in the middle. He goes to the Pro Bowl. Thomas and Randall, the great tackle tandem, with Robert Harris starting opposite James Harris. Jenkins, Del Rio in the middle, and McDaniel are the linebackers. Parker, Dwayne Washington, the great-looking rookie. Scott and Glenn are the safeties. Washington out of North Carolina State has started every game this season. Young on first down gets bumped, and down he goes after pump faking, and John Randall comes in to second at the 41-yard line.
Randall had 11.5 sacks coming into tonight's ball game. Make that 12.5 now as he chases NFL leader Kevin Green of the Steelers, who's got 14. And this is George Seifert's nightmare. He wants Steve Young to get some work tonight, but he does not want him to get caught with his legs under him in an awkward angle like he did right there. George talked about that lump in his throat that's getting bigger and bigger as he gets closer to game time. I think it grew considerably after that play.
2nd and 16. A little dump off to Ricky Waters, and he gets taken down at the 44. And last week, we only have to go back to last Monday night to know what a lump in a coach's throat is like when we think back to Emmitt Smith against the Saints.
The picture can change so quickly, and I think the fact that Randall and Thomas have, 17 sacks together coming from the inside, and where they are working against, they're not big, but they're working against an offensive line that is not big, and they are really quick.
Quickness and penetration. It is a defensive scheme of Tony Dungy's based on these two guys disrupting not only the run blocking but the pass blocking as well. Penetration.
On 3rd and 14, Young throws and hits the tight end. That's Ted Popson. He's a little short of the first down. He can get it to the Viking 44 and had to get to the 42. He is stopped by Todd Scott, and the 49ers are forced to punt.
Boy, that tight end is so important to the 49ers offense, has been for a long time with their San Francisco offense. They miss a Brent Jones. Here's Popson, a former 11th round draft pick of the Giants, off the practice squad a year ago, and we'll be watching Popson and Brett Caroline tonight at that tight end with Brent Jones on the bench.
Boy, that's the second big hit that Popson has taken from Todd Scott. He got him on the near sideline here with the first play of the game, and then there at midfield.
Klaus Wilmsmeyer to punt. David Palmer back to accept it, and he lets it go, and it takes a high hop, and the 49ers have downed it at the 1-yard line. Toy Cook, the longtime former New Orleans Saint, picked up at the beginning of the season, playing on special teams, pins Minnesota at the 2:45 into the game. Well, Warren Moon with the sprained knee and in uniform, but we're not going to see him tonight. On the left, and Sean Salisbury, who's been inactive for every game this season, gets the start in his 6th year at the University of Southern California. He leads the Vikings to the line at the 2-yard line in their first possession. And with 3 tight ends in this set, They give the ball to Terry Allen, who squeezes forward for about a yard. And it'll be 2nd and 9. Take a look at the Vikings now offensively with Terry Allen, the running back. Chris Carter having a fabulous season, the record holder. Talk about that in a moment. Jake Reed on the other side. Jarek and Andrew Jordan, the rookie tight end. Stussy has started every game. McDaniel goes to the Pro Bowl. Christie, Daphne, and Hinton. That interior 5 has started every game this season. And the pass is incomplete and nearly picked off through Terry Allen's hands and almost intercepted by Gary Plummer. Defensively now for the 49ers, Dennis Brown, Bryant Young, the wonderful rookie from Notre Dame. Red Hall again gets the start for the injured Stubblefield and Ricky Jackson up front. Goss starts for the injured Woodall, Plummer, and Norton, the other linebackers. And the secondary has been fabulous. Davis, Sanders, McDonald, and Hanks, the latter trio, all going to the Pro Bowl. 3rd and 9, no score early first quarter. Salisbury protected well, throws, and has a first down as he hits Amp Lee, the ex-49er. And now a 3rd down specialist picking up the first on a 16-yard pickup.
And a well-delivered ball by Salisbury. He was really on the spot tonight. He was a starter here in '92. We had him in the playoff against the Washington Redskins. Dan, Al, you remember that? Started 5 games a year ago, filling in for Jim McMahon, but he fires a good shot out there. He won 4 of those 5 that he started a year ago. They let him go. He was with Houston in Mexico City. We saw him there, and then they brought him back when Houston cut him, and it's a good thing they have him tonight.
And on first down, this is Terry Allen coming back after major surgery on both knees to have a fine year. Coming into the game 1,010 yards for the season. Ken Norton makes the tackle.
You know, we saw after that last completion out there to Amp Lee, we saw Tim McDonald and Ken Norton talking about a coverage because there's no way that Lee should have been wide open. If the 49ers are to have a lapse tonight, one of the ways that shows up a lot of times is in coverage, where maybe someone, little lack of concentration, the right coverage isn't there. We'll watch for it.
On 2nd and 5, Salisbury hangs in there, but the coverage is good. The crowd wants a flag, and they don't get it. Ismail was the intended receiver, and he was blanketed by Eric Davis. 3rd and 5.
Well, there was no loss of concentration on that. A flood of 3 receivers to the right side picked up well by the 49ers defensive unit. Unit coming into tonight 9th overall after their first 15 games of the season. 2nd against the rush, 20th against the pass. Very impressive. Again, not big up front as they are not big offensively, but very, very quick.
On 3rd down and 5 from the shotgun. Salisbury avoids the pressure and then throws a duck incomplete. Ricky Jackson put the pressure on. The pass intended for Carter over the middle, so it's 4th down.
Bryant Young there too, the rookie from Notre Dame. 6 sacks from the interior line position. That's not bad either. We talked about the Vikings, Randall and Thomas working from the inside. Bryant Young has really matured quickly as a rookie.
Frank, he's as good a rookie defensive tackle as I have seen come into this league in a long, long time. A lot of the college guys run out of gas about that 2nd week in November. He's continued to get better.
Mike Saxon, it's a line drive kick, but it takes a lucky bounce for the Vikings as it rolls by Dexter Carter and rolls dead at the 18-yard line. Hardly a thing of beauty except on the stat sheet. 58 yards for a smiling Saxon. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Chrysler and the new Chrysler Cirrus Sport Sedan. Cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. And Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly. 10:14 remaining in the opening quarter. Final game of the regular season. No score. Niners have it for the 2nd time. And they begin this drive from the 19-yard line with their first rushing play. A fumble. Ricky Waters coughs it up. It's picked up and run in by Dwayne Washington, the rookie, for the touchdown. Todd Scott forced the fumble. And Washington, the rookie from North Carolina State, chosen in the first round, takes it in.
Oh, and he's already taken in this season 2 interceptions for touchdowns. He is a fine-looking football player. He's always around the ball. Had a couple of interceptions returns for touchdowns against the Chicago Bears, and a very happy rookie. Waters coughs it up, and here comes Washington.
Juan Reveiz bangs it through.
Well, you knew coming into this game that the 49ers with Salisbury quarterback were going to have to control the ball offensively. They couldn't afford to give up big plays to the Minnesota defense, and that's exactly what they just did. We've got a flag on the field. It's back in the end zone.
Another hit by Todd Scott, too. The jars of Scott coming up very quickly.
Third big one of the game.
Putting the hit on Waters.
On defense. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff, 5 yards. Point is good.
But you knew that this is an opportunistic Viking defense. You can't afford to give them big plays, and the 49ers serve one up on their second series of the ballgame.
May not mean a lot to the 49ers, but don't tell that to Ricky Waters after a look at that counting. 7-0. The Minnesota Vikings on top as they try to win the Central Division. Again, they're in the playoffs. They are home on Sunday. The question is, do they face Chicago or Detroit? A win and they'll face Chicago. Reveiz sends it down to Dexter Carter. And he is upended at the 20-yard line. Tackle made by Chris Walsh.
Well, Ricky Waters was really upset about the blocking on that last play. Even though he fumbled, you know he's angered himself, but he was not happy that he took that shot from Todd Scott in the backfield. Here comes Scott coming up. See him there, and right there he gets inside the block of Nate Singleton, number 88, and really puts the hat right on the football. And Ricky Waters extremely upset as he went to the 49ers sideline.
That was an extremely timid shot by Singleton on the block.
On first down, Waters bursts through the middle. Singleton will play a lot tonight because of the injury to John Taylor. And again, a look at Ricky Waters and how angry he got after the fumble.
I think there might be a little bit of reaction to that block of Singleton's against Todd Scott. Scott, they nailed him 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, Ricky, I think, obviously expressing his unhappiness to his fellow offensive mates looking back out on the field.
On 2nd and 2, nothing develops around the right side for Ricky Waters. It'll make it 3rd down and 3. Again, Taylor is hurt tonight, knee and back injuries. Brent Jones with the thigh bruise, but none of the 49er injuries are that serious. In other words, with the week off next week, they'll all be back on the 7th of January.
Depending upon what happens tonight.
Right.
A giant knock on wood. You could hear it coming from Ed DeBartolo's suite all the way over here.
3rd and a long 2 at the 29. 8:50 to go in the opening quarter. Vikings leading 7-0, and sacked again. Henry Thomas sacking Steve Young as Young is sacked for the 2nd time.
That's 7 on the season for Thomas. The 2 inside men so very quick.
There's
Thomas
Tony Dungy. There's Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings. And he's the guy who comes up with this scheme. There's Randall Cock, 97. Boy, and he just works the right shoulder of Bart Oates, the center, a Pro Bowl player himself. And Steve Young rolling that way really goes right into it. That's almost an impossible block for Bart Oates.
Klaus Wilmsmeyer to punt, and 2 guys are back, David Palmer and Anthony Parker. It is a 40-yard boot. David Palmer with an 11-yard run back to the 49er 49. 8:06 to go in the first quarter. Minnesota 7, San Francisco nothing.
Single game record with 241 yards receiving against the Rams.
Montana. Rice is there. Rice, the #1 draft pick out of Mississippi Valley State.
It's Stubblefield. He has a knee injury, inactive tonight, but he'll be ready in 2 weeks. Richard Dent, that's a question mark now. The longtime Chicago Bear signed by the Niners, hurt early this season, hasn't played since September.
Been a big help to the youngsters along that defensive line, though, and Characterized by some as one of the highest priced coaches they have on this 49er team.
They're hopeful of getting some productivity from Dent during the playoffs. George Seifert more optimistic than he's been in some time.
Now the Vikings from the San Francisco 49-yard line. Terry Allen picks up 2 to the 47. Norton makes the tackle, and let's check in for the first time tonight with Lynn Swann.
Thank you, Al. You know, I talked to Sean Salisbury before the game started and how he felt about taking his first snap on Monday Night Football. He said he thought the media was making a big deal out of something that wasn't quite as important to him. He felt confident and poised to lead this football team tonight. He also told me that his contract is up at the end of the season. So I guess you can say he literally has hundreds and thousands of reasons why he wants to perform well tonight. Al?
And it doesn't mean anything to him? He's a lion dog.
On 2nd and 8, it is almost picked off. Miscommunication there. Merton Hanks almost had an easy interception. Chris Carter, I believe, was the intended receiver.
I think Sean trying to talk his way out of being nervous. You have a team playing for the division title. You've lost 4 out of your last 6. You're replacing Warren Moon. You don't have a contract coming up. You haven't taken a snap all year. I think Sean Salisbury's blood pressure and heart rate right now are a little high.
Pretty tough act to follow there.
Yeah.
You saw Warren Moon, who will not go tonight, in uniform, the 3rd quarterback, the emergency quarterback, I guess you would call him.
3rd and 8 out of the shotgun. 49ers rush 4, and the pass is caught by Ampley, but short of the first down. They'll have to punt. Toy Cook with the coverage.
Salisbury with a lot on that ball. It was a good catch by Ampley. Good coverage by the 49ers, but that's twice now he's thrown that ball short. Earlier one to Terry Allen, had a little too much on it. He dropped it.
Yeah, you needed 8 yards.
Yeah,
and
you're pumped up. You know,
throw about a 3.5-yard pattern. That's all that was.
Mike Saxon punting as Dexter Carter goes back to receive it, positioning at the 10-yard line. Saxon angles it for the near corner.
Oh, good
Nice kick because Carter has to step out of bounds as he makes the catch at the 9-yard line. That's where the 49ers begin their 3rd drive. Dennis Green's defense taken over with 6:39 to go in the quarter. 7-0 Vikings. .6:39 to go in the first quarter. A look into the face mask of Jack Del Rio, the middle linebacker, as the Niners take over at their own 9. Steve Young throws, and the catch is made by Dexter Carter, who steps out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Carlos Jenkins with the coverage. .49ers go home after the game. They're off next week. They will play on Saturday, January 7th. Now, Steve Young, his current passer rating, 112.2. The all-time record, Joe Montana in '89, a Super Bowl season, 112.4. Young could get there tonight. The catch is made over the middle.
Keep in mind that the sacks that have happened against Steve Young tonight, 2 of them do not figure into that computer rating. So every time Steve is dropped, it's really a non-issue as far as that quarterback rating is concerned.
There are the most heavy-weighted components would be touchdown passes.
Right. The components are number of
interceptions.
passes, completions, yards, touchdowns, and interceptions. Exactly right. A touchdown pass really helps you. An interception really hurts you. Ricky Waters up to the 25. It's a very complicated formula. I don't think anybody, even inside football, really understands it. But it is a record, and it's Young chasing Montana of all things.
There have been quarterbacks in this league before who have had teammates upset with them because in their thinking they took a sack rather than throw the football away, knowing that the sack didn't hurt their rating, but the tossing the ball over the bench just went down as an incompletion, damaged your rating.
2nd and 8. It is, by the way, something Young is very aware of, and George Seifert is very aware of. But look out! And he gets it off, and the catch is made by Nate Singleton, and Carlos Jenkins blindsides Young, and again a lump in Seifert's throw.
Well,
Big-time lump this time.
first of all, understand something. This is one of the hardest hitting defensive teams in the National Football League. They want to win their division, and they know full well that the quicker they get to Steve Young and the harder they hit him, the quicker George Seifert is going to get the hook. And right now, Steve Young is even a more marked man than he would be normally. And that's a pretty good hit he takes in the back from Carlos Jenkins.
3rd down and 3 at the 30-yard line. Fake draw, a little roll, and Young's going to run and run out of bounds. Seifert almost ran out to escort him out of bounds. McDaniel ran him out after he picks up the 1st down. And we've got an injured 49er. Meanwhile, the Montana records we're talking about, Joe had several of them and still has several, but through the years, career passer rating, Young now has that mark. Career completion percentage, Young now has that mark, and he just broke Montana's single season record for touchdown passes with 34. Meanwhile, that is Derek Deese, the right guard, and a guy who's been playing very well this season in place of the injured Ralph Tam. And so this is, and there is Tam. So exactly what the 49ers did not want to see, somebody prone.
Tam injured in the very first game. As a matter of fact, in the early going, these 49ers, their offensive line was decimated with injuries. They struggled, and they really did not get it going until they got that offensive line back intact and back into gear. And this is one of the components that was missing, and Derek Deese stepped in and has done a creditable job.
Well, there's good news. He is up, even though he is limping and walking a little gingerly. He's putting weight on his leg, and good news for the 49ers there. Ralph Tam was not scheduled to get back his starting job during the playoffs, and I think the 49ers.
Stead, 3rd-year man out of Delaware State, who takes over at a right guard position between Oates and Barton. 1st down at the 37. Vikings leading 7-0. Young still perfect tonight, and that's the first catch of the evening for one Jerry Rice, who makes his 109th catch of the season. Benzie Glenn with a tackle.
Boy, how unusual it come on a slant pattern. They so rarely run that to Jerry Rice. If there is a staple of Jerry Rice's passing diet, there it is.
You know, Dwayne Washington knows it's coming in there. The zone that Tony Dungy likes to use.
3 or 4 yards upfield.
They play the quarterback so well.
It's just the quick break to the inside. Young is so adept at delivering the ball in front of Rice, so he can take it in stride. And Jerry not afraid to take the hit.
Meanwhile, Young's rating just went up a 10th, and that won't hurt either as Nate Singleton makes the catch. His rating now just a 1/10 of a point behind Joe Montana's all-time record.
This is like having the stock market ticker here.
Yeah, what's the tick, right?
Al's giving us 1-6. Well, I think if Steve Young gets to 112.5 at whatever point in time that is, out comes the big gorilla hand, and away goes Steve.
Yep. 2nd down and 3 at the 40-yard line. And Ricky Waters is tackled for no gain. Ed McDaniel making the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, number 58. Tony Dungy.
Some of that speculation become action.
Yes. Turned into reality. 3rd down and 3. Derek Deese back in the game. That much time left in the quarter. Vikings lead 7-0. Young still perfect on the night. Rice makes his 2nd catch.
I think he went up 4/100ths of a point on that.
And for Rice, that's catch 111, the most he's made in any one season. He broke his individual mark this year.
Anthony Parker, number 27 for the Vikings, laying well off Jerry Rice. And Steve, it's right in the hands.
Great look at it, guys. Beautiful shot of it.
How many times do you think they do this in practice? Jerry Rice, one of the hardest working players in this game today. He will wear your quarterback out working in practice.
Young is 9 of 9 for 77 yards. Rice in motion, 1st down. They give it to the rookie William Floyd, and he finally gets taken down by Jenkins after a pickup of 7. You think there's a little adrenaline between Ricky Waters and William Floyd coming out of the backfield? Meanwhile, we can set the wild card doubleheader. We'll have both games for you Saturday, beginning at 12:30 Saturday on ABC. 2nd and 3. 11th play of the drive. The catch is made over the middle by the rookie Floyd, who bangs down to the 17 before Benzie Glenn wrestles him back. The rookie William Floyd out of Florida State.
Now we see him on the running play. We see him as a receiver. We know he is one of the outstanding rookie blockers. Flag is down on the play. But there he is. Had a spectacular career at Florida State. Good blocker.
Personal foul. Roughing the quarterback. Blow to the head. Out of distance to the goal.
Ron Blum making the call.
Does not identify which one of the Viking players, but I think we'll find out right here.
How about a 97?
Yep,
Henry
there
Thomas.
it is right there. Henry Thomas tomahawks the right hand and catches Steve Young right flush on the face mask. Henry Thomas with 1 sack tonight, as does his defensive tackle mate John Randall.
49ers, who are terrific in the red zone. The catch is made by Rice, who takes it to the 5-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal.
When these folks get worked up here, this place gets very noisy. Very noisy.
That's the end of the quarter. 49ers threatened, but the Vikings lead 7-0. And back we come with Monday Night Football after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Our business is a business of passion.
Quarter in Minneapolis. This season, the 49ers have gotten into the end zone 73% of the time inside the 20. The NFL average is 50%. The 49ers by far tops in the league. And here they are again in the red zone. 13th play of a drive that started at their 9-yard line. 2nd and goal. The opening play of the second quarter. Young. Looking, throwing, and it's his first incomplete pass of the night. As he gets taken down at the end by John Randall and barks about it with the referee, Ron Blum.
A little unhappy with the hit by Randall. Randall with the great quickness we talked about him. Steve Young still scrambling, looking for the receiver. He gets the little pop on the head, but let's face it, Randall in full pursuit.
That's
a tough one to call.
Well, I think you're right, Frank. There's no way you throw a flag on John Randall for that.
3rd and goal. They flank Waters. Wide right. Young goes the other way. Jerry Rice, touchdown.
What an amazing deal. How would the Vikings ever expect a slant pattern to Jerry Rice?
And that touchdown pass with the updated statistics put him ahead of Montana in pass rating. So a lot of things happening. Rice extending his NFL record, most touchdowns in a career. And Steve Young ready to tie the game here with the extra point.
And on a slant again.
To his left, where he's looking right at Jerry Rice, being the left-handed quarterback. Rice with just a 2 or 3 steps, a quick break to the inside. Virtually unstoppable unless you float a linebacker out to get in the way. The corner can't cover that. Got to get help from underneath. If you're not, it'll be a 49er completion all the time.
Doug Bryan boots it through, and there it is. Steve Young at the moment is the 7 as Jerry Rice holds in the 139th touchdown of his career. 131 receiving, 8 rushing. Bryan sends a one-hopper down to the 9-yard line, and Ant Lee spins, breaks a couple of tackles, and takes it back out to the 35-yard line. Well, Elvis Grbac is up and throwing, as they say in the bullpen, as Steve Young could very well be done for the night. George Seifert now the all-time single-season record holder for pass rating.
I wonder if he knows that at this point.
He does.
Are they monitoring?
Yep. Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, who should get a lot of the credit for designing and perpetuating this incredible offense. Scotty Graham is in the game at running back. 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Salisbury throws to Carter. Speaking of record holders,
I think the 49ers made an exception tonight and had Young's helmet, his radio helmet, wired into our telecast tonight, and so he when he heard us talk about it, that was it.
120 catches now for Carter. Let's get a word from Lynn Swann.
Hey, Al, on the sideline here, Gary Kubiak, who's a quarterback coach of the San Francisco 49ers, looked at Seifert, gave him thumbs up or thumbs down. They said thumbs down. I believe they're saying they're going to take Young out. Grbac went to warm up because he's already surpassed the quarterback rating of Joe Montana. I don't think you're going to see him back in the ball game when the San Francisco 49ers come back and take control of the ball offensively.
I agree with you. Scotty Graham picks up the first down. The smiling Steve Young, who's probably done for the night, will next be in action on the 7th of January. Not only will he break the record but he's the first quarterback in the history of the league to lead the league in passing in each of 4 straight years. He's already won 1 MVP award and will probably be the MVP this year as well.
How different it is, Al, if you look back at that Philadelphia game way back in October when he was pulled, the unhappiness he expressed to the coach and the 49ers getting it going after that.
And let's talk about how this impacts the Minnesota Vikings. They have an opportunity here to come out of this thing knotted up with the 49ers. And really, what more could they ask for than to be even when Steve Young leaves the ballgame? Warren Moon isn't playing tonight. So if it is Elvis Grbac against Sean Salisbury at home in the Metrodome here, I think this is a big plus for Minnesota to have this be an even ballgame.
Here's Graham again, seeking the first down and picking it up. Ken Norton brings him down behind a block by Randall McDaniel, the Pro Bowl guard.
Could speculate that their opportunity for a 10-6 season and a Central Division championship now is a lot brighter with Steve on the bench.
Well, you know that the Vikings aren't going to score an awful lot of points tonight offensively. They've scored 7 points, but that was scored by their defensive football team. They couldn't afford to spot the 49ers a big lead, and they have.
On 1st and 10. And the pass is knocked away by Merton Hanks, intended for Steve Jordan.
Oh, what a great read by Hanks. That looks like a completion all the way. Salisbury breaks contained, gets outside the perimeter rush of the 49ers. Looks like he has a completion, and Merton Hanks, boy, did he close on that in a hurry.
Well, and Deion Sanders came in after the start of the season. Hanks went to that free safety, and as he developed into a Pro Bowl safety, and you saw one of the reasons there, he's just always around the football. He's always making something happen on the field. Outstanding safety.
On 2nd and 10, Salisbury under pressure, gets it away incomplete. It's tipped.
Well, that was a result of tremendous inside penetration by the 49ers. Bryant Young, number 97, leading the rush.
So much so, I think Dennis Green thinks they were offside.
That's Young cocked. And look at him work between the double team of Christie and Daphne. Gets upfield. Ricky Jackson, number 57, was the guy coming in from the outside, forcing the high throw. Good work by the 49ers.
3rd and 10, and Salisbury going for it all, and it's busted up by Davis, intended for Qadry Ismail.
Ismail in a duel with Eric Davis. Davis with terrific position on that inside, the 4th-year starter for the 49ers. Not as celebrated perhaps as Deion and Merton and Tim McDonald. They're all going to the Pro Bowl, but doing a very steady job. Well, this is textbook here, getting good position now, looking back for the ball just when he should. Up he goes, gets an arm inside and pulls it away. Watch his right arm come up under Ismail's. Well played.
Mike Saxon to punt. Line of scrimmage is the 49er 43, and Saxon sends a line drive to the near corner that's taken in by Carter at the 11-yard line. And Dexter Carter with a good run back all the way out to the 37. Chris Walsh forces him out at that spot. 12 minutes to go in the half. 49ers and the Vikings tied at 7. Elvis Grbac now. Throws to Nate Singleton, and Singleton inside the 30, all the way down to the 22-yard line. But they're going to say that the play was whistled dead. He was out of bounds back upfield. Not much, though, at the 26.
Well, play action on the part of Grbac. He hides this ball well. There's the little fake, tucks it in. Could have run it the long way, but he finds Singleton coming all the way across the field. Gets a block downfield from Ed McCaffrey, and one thing these 49er wide receivers will do, they will block for each other.
He rounded that corner just a little too much. Nate didn't look like he could corral his momentum as he stepped out of bounds. Pretty impressive start to this drive by Mr. Grbac and Mr. Singleton.
Meanwhile, Harris Barton just limped off, and Frank Pollock takes his spot at the 26-yard line. It's Floyd picking up one to the 25-yard line. Anthony Parker makes the tackle. Well, Young is out, and there is Barton being worked on, and they've taken Rice out of the game as well. Seifert saying as long as Young's in there, Rice will be in there. When he's out, Jerry's out.
Harris Barton appears to be okay over on the 49er sideline. Don't know if that was an equipment problem or if he just had something brief.
Second, Waters with his second fumble and second lost fumble recovered by John Randall.
Now we can check out the exchange. They don't work that much during the week. Gerbeck worked a little more this week than he has in past weeks. Sometimes just being a little unfamiliar with the quarterback, you're not concentrating on the handoff. You're looking to see where you're going to cut, where you're going to make your move, and if you're not familiar with it, you lose it. It looked like a pretty good handoff.
It looked like Gerbeck didn't get the ball all the way in, like maybe he's a little far from Ricky. Yeah, that's it. That's Elvis Gerbeck. He's got to get closer to that running back and get that football farther into the midsection of Ricky Waters. That was more out on the hip rather than around the navel.
This is Scotty Graham on first down for a gain of close to 11 and another first down up at the 38-yard line.
Scotty Graham last year, when Terry Allen was out the entire season with a knee reconstruction surgery, was a leading rusher for the Vikings and sort of been shoved to the sidelines this year with the reemergence of Terry Allen. Only 47 attempts coming into the game, and take a look at it from the blimp camera, if you will.
That's
a lot of moves.
That's a great look from directly above here at the Metrodome.
If that's a blimp, we've got the FAA on the phone immediately.
I wonder if that's a manned camera up there. Talk about a little vertigo.
Little screen, looking for a 10-6 season. He came here his first year at 92, 11-5. Last year 9-7. Got knocked out by the Giants in the playoff. Looking for their 10-6 and a Central Division title.
Asked for it, and there it is.
Yep.
There's that camera from really high above.
First and 10 at the 38-yard line. Graham. And he works his way out to the 47-yard line. Scotty Graham out of Ohio State, tackled by McDonald and Hanks.
Pretty good group of running backs there at Ohio State. Scotty Graham, his teammate Robert Smith was the #1 draft choice of the Vikings, not to mention Raymond Harris, who's playing with the Chicago Bears, all in Columbus at the same time.
Graham in that very popular physical mode, 5'9", 217-pounder, and tough to bring down. Low center of gravity.
2nd and 1 at the 47, 9:40 to go in the half. The game tied at 7 as Graham stopped for no gain, and a flag goes down. Well, Ohio State with that great running back tradition, but what would Woody Hayes have thought that someday the guy for the record for most receptions as a holding call goes against Minnesota would be a Buckeye?
Well,
Chris Carter.
what that means is he didn't use up any of his receptions when he was in Ohio State.
10 yards, repeat second down.
He had hands that didn't have a lot of miles on them by the time he got to the NFL.
Randall McDaniel with a hold.
Speaking of Chris Carter, he's had a couple of big nights on Monday Night Football. 162 yards against the Giants back in '88. He had 155 yards against Philadelphia for the Vikings after Buddy Ryan decided he couldn't play and made a free agent out of him.
He's made 1 catch tonight and 120 this season. Here's Jake Reed, his counter. He loses the football, and the 49ers try to keep it in bounds, but it rolled out of bounds.
The question is whether
did he control it?
Yeah, the question is going to be whether Eric Davis was able to hold on to the football. Eric Davis is the 49er that had the ball, but then it squirted away from Davis out of bounds. I don't think there's any question that it was a fumble by the Vikings. If it's ruled that Davis didn't have possession, this will still be Minnesota's ball.
San Francisco gained possession of the ball. The ball was batted out of his hands. The ball belongs to San Francisco at the out-of-bounds spot.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's a good call by the officials. You could see, first of all, a superior job by Eric Davis of not only knocking the ball loose, but then recovering it. He works the ball right there. Watch this. Look how he's able to work that ball away from Reed.
Well, he's the one not going to the Pro Bowl.
And then he does have possession. That's just a good call by the officiating crew. They were on top of that.
Giveth and taketh. Ricky Waters fumbles. Minnesota gets it. Reed fumbles, and the Niners get it back at the 37-yard line.
This is more than just being opportunistic by Eric Davis. He created that. That was just good hands, good work in getting that ball away from Jake Reed.
Elvis Grbac leading the Niners at the 37-yard line. Grbac throws. Catch is made by McCaffrey. His first catch of the night. Former New York Giant. One-time Stanford star. Takes it to the 32.
Grbac was drafted in the 8th round in '93. Had left Michigan with practically all of their passing records. And he's been in kind of a learning mode. And this year, filling in for Steve Young, most of it in mop-up duty. But he's getting the experience. They think he can play.
2nd and 5. Grbac over the middle, underneath. Catch made by Brett Carolyn. As Young just spectates if you're tuning in late. Steve eclipsing the old Joe Montana record for pass rating in a season, and done for the evening. Again on Saturday, the playoffs. Houston the Dolphins, Marino and Montana, beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern this Saturday. Pre-game starts at noon.
Did we just do that?
3rd and 1, and on a sneak, it's close.
Frank, we did just do that, but it was Steve Bono quarterbacking the Kansas City Chiefs in that game, and hopefully this time we'll see Montana, Marino, and their 82,000 or whatever it is combined passing
a
yards.
zillion, as Cody would say.
It's a whole bunch of miles. Harris Barton saying to Steve Young, how come you get to come out of this thing? And I had to go another couple plays.
Speaking of miles, this 49er offense, what a gear they've been in over the last 10 games.
A little short here, so it'll be 4th down and that much.
Thing of it is, for the offensive linemen, they're going to have to rotate around a little bit because you only know Wallace still in the ball game. Bardot's still in the ball game.
We saw Mike Shanahan. Let's see what play he has called for Grbac to run on 4th and inches. And he calls for Floyd, the fullback, and Floyd should have it.
Oh, and he got it on second effort, too. Del Rio in there with a good pop.
This isn't a foregone conclusion that he has this.
If he does get it, it'll be quite a credit to this rookie from Florida State.
He never did really quite. Beautiful work by Del Rio and the Vikings.
The NFL started with New Orleans, Kansas City, Dallas, and then here, where he has hit it big under Tony Dungy's defensive coordinating.
Vikings take over after holding on down. Scotty Graham picks up a couple. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of 1990.
Could have played this game outside and people wouldn't have been uncomfortable.
Tropical. 2nd and 8. Graham.
Maybe for Nanook of the North it might be tropical.
As long as that temperature sign is on the plus side, we're happy.
Yeah.
Speaking of the plus side, the Vikings sure hope that guy is ready on Sunday.
He certainly seems to think that he will be ready, and his coach Denny Green of the same mindset.
3rd and 4. Salisbury throws. The receiver Carter goes down, and we're going to say incidental contact because there was no flag. He got tangled up with Eric Davis.
And a good call, too. Absolutely incidental. No and nothing. He tripped himself, I believe. And then Davis went down right after him.
I think the infamous trapdoor might have. Nobody to blame but fate.
Mike Saxon to kick. Dexter Carter back to get it.
Flag down.
Flag down. 48-yard boot, a good one. Another flag down. Yep, flag down at the line of scrimmage. Another after the kick was accepted.
Ooh, we'll have double fouls on this play.
One of them is going to be a personal. Clearly the Vikings, the beneficiary here, as the 49ers are pushed back the regular season. Game is tied 7-7. 5:59 to the half. 49ers begin this drive at the 8. Elvis Grbac, the quarterback, gives it to Ricky Waters, who has fumbled twice. And as he turns the corner, he is run out of bounds by Anthony Parker. Playoff schedule now. If the Vikings win, Chicago would be here, but Chicago comes here. If they lose, Detroit comes here.
Keep that in mind. Just say win, Windy, lose, Lions.
Yeah.
He's just.
Here's Waters. And he gets back to the 8-yard line where he's tackled by Anthony Parker.
Pollock in for Barton, but Derek Deese has come back. That's good news for the 49ers.
I wonder what the Packers are thinking. They destroyed Chicago twice this year.
Yes. And beating somebody 3 times in 1 year is a formidable task.
Yeah. 3rd down and 10 at the 8-yard line. 4.5 to go in the first half. Short drop, and then Gerbach's pass is errant. Too far in front of Ted Thompson. 4th down.
It's more important for Minnesota to think about themselves rather than who they're going to play. They've lost 4 of their last 6. And it goes back to a game against New England.
That's just dominating football.
He's not that big either, Dan. He just is powerful. Very quick. Under 4.940. That'll give you an idea of the speed and athleticism of number 97, the rookie out of Notre Dame, Bryant Young.
Quality work. This guy's got a real legitimate shot, and in my mind should be defensive rookie of the year in the NFL.
2nd and 12 at the 38. It's tipped and it's incomplete. Intended for Andrew Jordan. Ken Norton got his paw on it. Or hand, your preference.
Former player. I never liked that term, paw.
I hated it. That's why I gave you the option.
I know. Thank you.
There's the tip.
Dehumanizing.
51.
It's got a couple of digits on it.
Ken Norton getting that hand up.
His paw.
3rd down and 12 at the 38-yard line. 3:33 to the half. The game tied at 7. Salisbury guns it into the arms of Jake Reed, who has the first down of the 25-yard line.
There's 2 outside guys, Jake Reed and Chris Carter are big. They're 6'3", 217 for Reed, 202 for Carter. And when you turn them into the middle, it's hard to battle through them for the ball. They're big and they come back and fight for it. I think we're going to see more and more of the king-size wide receivers. New rules prohibiting or enforcing the rule of contact.
And this is Graham. Dennis Green said he wanted to get Graham more action tonight, and he's certainly done that as he spells Terry Allen. Plummer makes the tackle.
And this is a good-looking drive here for the Minnesota Vikings. There's Brian Bill
against the run coming from San Diego.
Graham on 2nd and 3.
Guess who?
Bryant Young. Well, he's going to be in the running for defensive rookie of the year. The offensive rookie of the year, I would say, is a runaway from Marshall Faulk.
Yeah. What, 1,200 and some yards? There's a good look at a man in pain. Came over from the Chargers as a free agent this year, and he has really solidified the middle and given a lot.
They have not been throwing to him at all.
Meanwhile, Plummer's back in the game.
Nothing like a 2-minute commercial break, eh?
Yep.
That'll cure what ails you.
3rd down and 3 is Salisbury. Surveys and then throws a pass.
That's an INT.
Picked off. It is Gary Plummer, of all people, who comes away with the football.
Very timely return on the part of Gary Plummer. Deion Sanders in on that play also.
Salisbury made a poor decision. Really threw into a big group of people, most of them wearing white shirts. Boy, you hate to make that mistake at this stage of the first half, inside the 2-minute warning and deep in 49er territory.
More than that, he was looking the receiver all the way downfield. Jake Reed had drawn the attention of Sanders, and Plummer, reading the eyes of Salisbury, was right there.
Yeah, you're in a position where a field goal gives you a 3-point lead as you go into the half, and you just can't throw into traffic in that position.
So the 49ers take it with 1:55 to go in the first half. Elvis Gerbach throws a little swing out to Ricky Waters, but the coverage is great, and down he goes for a loss of 1. Dwayne Washington with the tackle.
Yeah, Dwayne Washington has had a great rookie year himself. He came in from North Carolina State, the #1 draft pick, and run a couple of interceptions back for a touchdown. Has 3 on the year. You saw him earlier put the first points on the board here tonight with a Ricky Watters fumble.
Well, it's fun to watch these Vikings play defense. They have such outstanding team speed and aggressiveness. Boy, do they put a lot of guys on the football.
They're back on 2nd and 11. That's caught by Ricky Watters, and he takes it out to the 5th in the league.
And that's how you win football games. Converting on 3rd down. Losers don't do it. Winners do.
1st and 3rd down conversions and 1st in the red zone. That's a pretty good combination. On 3rd and 8, and it is dropped by Watters.
Oh, right in the hands. A little low, but certainly one that had to be caught. But that was a good example of what Dennis Green said about the 49er offense. He said, you look out there on a pass play, and you got guys running around everywhere. And that was an example. They do a lot of crossing. This time Watters working underneath. Right there. Good pass by Grbac.
So Wilmsmeyer to punt. And Anthony Parker and David Palmer both drop back at the 50-yard line. High floating kick at the 48, David Palmer. And he takes it back to the 40, doesn't it? Yep. Scotty Graham takes it to the 40, or Ant Lee rather, to the 46-yard line for a gain of 3.
Dick would be, if he does, would be going back to the Eagles. Only one to take the Eagles to a Super Bowl.
Salisbury steps up. It's caught at the 39-yard line by Steve Jordan, the longtime Viking.
And only 1 remaining. 30 seconds left here in the first half, and see the medical staff with the 49ers there.
Look like they're working on the right leg.
Yeah. Young this year.
Here's Salisbury throwing, and it's off the fingertips of Steve Jordan. And that is dropped by Qadry Ismail at the 25-yard line.
Now that pass wasn't where Qadry wanted it. A little bit back behind him. If he had it out in front of him, I'm sure he'd tell you that he would have caught it. Billick again calling the play. Let's take a look at this thing as Salisbury gets it downfield. Back behind Ismail. Still a catchable ball. But the farther behind him it gets, the lower the probability of that catch becomes.
3rd and 10 as they try to get into field goal range for one of the best in Fuad Reves. And this catch is made trying to get out of bounds to save the timeout is Chris Carter, but he can't. And the clock is ticking down, and the Vikings will be compelled to take a timeout here because it's going to be 4th down at the 30-yard line. And that's going to set up a Fuad Reves field goal attempt. And he has a long streak going, 26 in a row. It's the 2nd longest streak in history. 92 lapping into 93. And Fuad Reves, who has not yard line, to try to give the Vikings the lead, to try to make it 27 in a row. He does. And that's why the Colombian-born Reves is going to the Pro Bowl. Too short of Carney's mark. And a new record for one season, 27 straight. The half ends with the Vikings taking the lead by 3. And we'll return after this word from our ABC station. And let's take a look at the numbers through the first 30 minutes of competition, with the Vikings on top 10-7.
We saw Steve Young for the first quarter and into the second quarter, and he was able to put together a 1-touchdown drive. And the Vikings have stayed there pretty well. Turnovers even.
Well, they've got a lead, and Steve Young and Jerry Rice will not see any action here in the second half. So right now, at halftime, the Minnesota Vikings have got to feel pretty darn good about their positioning in this ballgame. If they win, they are the NFC Central champions.
And they play. Whoa! And a fumble. Terry Allen. What are they saying? They're saying he was down by contact. As the phrase goes, Minnesota retains the football.
Player is ruled down by contact. Second down.
And Terry Allen is not getting up yet.
That ball came out pretty quickly.
He was really stuffed.
And that ball came out in a hurry. That was a pretty quick down by contact call. Let's take a look at it again. We'll look at it from the near sideline. You see that ball is out well before that. The officials ruling that his forward progress was stopped. The whistle blew. Looked to be a good quick whistle in favor of the Vikings.
I thought the days of women being treated differently than men were long gone.
Hey, how you doing? What was your name again? Karen, right?
Aaron.
Ariel, let me show you. Aaron, I'm sorry.
Then I tried to buy a car. Something reliable.
Want to buy a car, huh?
Sporty.
What a great day to buy a car.
With lots of standard features.
This is the vanity mirror, so you can check your makeup.
Women are loving it.
Tell me about the mileage.
It has no miles on it yet.
Okay, what about safety features?
You feel safe.
Yeah.
It's safe.
How much you looking to spend?
I want to spend about $12,000.
Rich. Yeah, Rich can help you out. I'll be back to you soon, though, okay?
When I got to Saturn, I didn't know what to expect. But Dave Pierce actually took the time to answer all my questions. Not only did I buy a Saturn, I thought it might be fun to sell them. You know what I like best about working here? Showing guys the vanity mirror.
Hey, my Bud Bowl game card. You know Bud Bowl with Chris Berman?
You could win a cool $1 million. Plus, there's Viper, Sea-Doos, and lots more. During January, follow the score on TV and where you buy Bud and Bud Light. Write it down and bingo. So, who do you think's gonna win? Hey, what are you guys looking at?
Welcome back to the Metrodome. At halftime, I had a chance to talk to Dennis Green, and he told me that he felt that his run defense was playing extraordinarily well. Offensively, that they could run the ball inside very well. His major concern, though, was the fact that too many people on offense were worrying about how Sean Salisbury was going to play. He said he wants the players not to worry about Sean and worry about themselves. Then they won't be dropping passes. They'll execute better. Al?
And let's see how they execute here, because they were lucky to retain possession after that fumble by Allen, who was assisted from the field, and the catch is made by Steve Jordan over the middle out at the 23-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 7. Allen on the bench and Scotty Graham back in the backfield.
Some of the tests they were giving Terry Allen while he was on the carpet here while we were away for commercial would indicate that they were concerned that he might possibly have had a concussion.
Steve Jordan
to focus on the moving finger. You've done that a few times.
Oh yes, and missed it a couple times. You see Salisbury under 50%, 8 of 20.
3rd and 7. Salisbury needs to get to the 30 and can only get to the 27, and is thrown down by Merton Hanks, who banged down at that spot. Well, of course, the punt. If you joined us late, Steve Young did start. Played well enough to set a new single-season NFL pass rating record, and out he came for Gerback. And Moon not playing, and Salisbury taking hits like that along the way.
He better put a little more air in his helmet. Look how easily that thing spins. His ear pad was all the way over on top of his nose. So a lot of times a quarterback who doesn't play a lot lets a lot of that air out of his helmet. And if I'm Sean, I head to the sideline in the air pump and blow that thing back up.
Mike Saxon, 44-yard boot to the 29-yard line, taken there by Dexter Carter with some nifty moves. Flag down, takes it back to the 43-yard line.
You know, that helmet, when it's blown up properly to really give you the maximum amount of support, is not all that comfortable to have on. And a lot of players who spend a lot of time standing around watching let the air out of that thing. And if I'm Sean, I puff that baby back up, as you see Ron Blum give us the call of holding against the 49ers.
Holding 28 of the receivers during the return, penalized 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
That's Dana Hall for the San Francisco 49ers, and again a penalty on the kicking aspect of the game puts the 49ers in bad field position.
Welcome to another Monday Night Football 25th anniversary moment, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low-fare airline.
In 1985, the Bears stuffed the Packers with William the Refrigerator Perry.
For the Bears, he'll be the lead blocker. They're getting the football and Perry. Touchdown. William Perry spikes the football. And this crowd loves it. They've been reading about this all week long.
At Southwest Airlines, some of our most important projects never get off the ground. Like our South Mountain Park project in Phoenix, where we spent a day replanting trees and shrubs destroyed by summer brush fires. Or our Midwest Flood Relief Project, where we gathered tons of food and supplies to aid thousands of people whose homes were ravaged by floods. Why are some of our most rewarding projects so down to earth? Because we're not a company of planes, we're a company of people.
Best things are forever. The thrill is never gone. And the future's ours together. Let's keep it going on. You're the part of me. That's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me. Yeah.
The doctor told them they were having 5 babies and it could be dangerous, but they went ahead. Guess what? They had 6. Diane Sawyer, Turning Point, Wednesday.
Well, we're seeing a form of the 49ers tonight, of course, in a game that doesn't mean anything to them as they prepare for the playoffs, but it's hard to imagine any team playing any better than the 49ers have over the past couple of months.
No, I think they're very comfortable in the work that they got for their regulars tonight. They're going to get another week off. Some of the players that didn't play it tonight could have played, and they're just kind of doing it their way. And George Seifert said we want to make sure that we're comfortable by what we do, not what other teams do.
Burback runs out of bounds after a short game.
I think that George, though, did the right thing in letting Jerry Rice and letting Steve Young and some of his other top guys start the ball game, because I think he has a justifiable fear in going 3 weeks with these guys without them playing any meaningful action. And it's not just what happened during the game tonight, but by knowing they were going to play, it's the quality of weeks practice that they had leading up to this ball game that I think was what he was really looking for. And regardless of what happens here, winning or losing, I think Seifert's gotten what he wanted out of his frontline guys. Now it's just keep your fingers crossed and hope that no one gets hurt.
And you can't question how he's done it either, I don't believe.
Ted Thompson makes the catch on a 2nd and 4 for a gain of about 3. It'll be a little short of the first down. And he also got the bonus tonight, even though, you know, they're not going to make a big deal out of the records and all of that. They were aware of the fact that Steve Young could eclipse a Montana mark. He got that mark, and out he came.
It has been quite a run here for Steve Young the last 3 or 4 years in the National Football League.
I live in his old town of Greenwich, Connecticut. They'll be swinging the bells there tonight. They're so very proud of Steve Young, and justifiably so, not only as a football player, but as a person off the field.
They'll be waking people up if they start swaying those bells. It's 3rd and 1 as the catch is made by Nate Singleton. That's a first down.
Quite a family. He was more of a runner in high school as a Cardinal at Greenwich High than he was a pure passer, and certainly does that well too.
Did you bring any of the old films along tonight? We can roll in there.
You know, I thought about it. They're available.
Well, the 49er key people are out right now. You've got Adam Walker, who was in the backfield, and now you have Dexter Carter in there, number 35. Rice done for the night. Taylor was on the shelf, and the catch is made up at the 37-yard line by the tight end, Ted Popson. Again, the other tight end, their number 1 tight end, Brent Jones, with a thigh bruise. I suppose could have played tonight had it been a meaningful game, but they've rested him as well.
They still have some Pro Bowl representation up on their offensive line. There's Brent Jones, but Bart Oates, who's going to the Pro Bowl. The guy went to the Pro Bowl for the Giants and now for the 49ers. Jesse Sapolo at left guard, who went to the Pro Bowl last year at center, moved over to guard and is going as a guard this year. How's that for quite a statement as to his versatility?
We're back on 2nd and 3, throws high and off the hands of Brett Carolyn, the tight end.
And really, talk about the 2 best tackles not in the Pro Bowl. I think you'd have to say in the NFC that would be Steve Wallace and Harris Barton, the 2 tackles for the 49ers. Both of these guys have gone to the Pro Bowl in the past, but overlooked this year. Both of them missed various times because of injuries. Barton
had
missed a lot.
7 weeks off.
Right.
It's kind of hard to make that Pro Bowl missing 7 weeks.
William Rowe, there's Steve Wallace, William Rowe, Lomas Brown, and Mark Tuinei are the 3 tackles. And there's a good look at that protective helmet worn by Steve Wallace, who's had a problem with concussions.
3rd and 3. Quarterback throws. Catch made by McCaffrey, and before he's taken out of bounds by Washington, that's a 49er first down.
That's that overlaying foam shell that sits on top of Steve Wallace's helmet. It's certainly not going to win any fashion statements, but talk about an added piece of protection.
Gets a few calls in the locker room. They've got a few names for that.
Well, Steve has said, he said, look, that's one time you can't think about your ego. I want to think about playing with my kids someday and having all of my faculties.
Tough to find fault with that.
More and more we're looking at the equipment as a cause of many injuries in this game, and I think that's certainly in time to come is going to take a much further look as to the way the equipment is worn today, the effect of the equipment on other players and yourself. Big part of the injury problem.
Timeout, 49.
And one of the reasons he is a legend, not because maybe there's never been a talent come along like him, but he's always there. Between he and Steve Young, Steve Young with the most consecutive starts of any quarterback in the game, 49 coming into tonight. Jerry Rice never missed a game with an injury, and the great ones that put up the great numbers have got to be on the field playing. These two have been during their careers.
Only 9 consecutive Pro Bowls for Rice.
First down at the 49, and Verbeek loses the ball. It's a live football, and it is a Minnesota recovery.
Smart.
Randall stripped it.
I think Roy Barker was the guy that picked it up, and a smart play by Barker, because he had a decision to make to try to scoop it up and keep running, or do I go down and protect the ball and don't boot it and maybe give it back to the 49ers? And Barker, I think, eschewed the spectacular play and went for the sure recovery.
Henry Thomas. Thomas and Randall, they're so quick on the inside, and you're right, Dan. Good choice on the part of Barker.
How many times you see that defensive lineman try to pick that thing up and run on into the end zone, and you end up kicking the ball right out of your own hands.
Terry Allen is back in the game, and we've got a timeout. The 49ers didn't have the proper defensive alignment. Another listen to man.
I think we saw a rookie mistake. Bryant Young was the guy who trotted out here late.
Great day to buy a car.
I thought the days of women being treated differently than men were long gone.
This is the vanity mirror so you can check your makeup.
Then I tried to buy a car. Something reliable,
It's safe.
sporty.
How much you looking to spend?
I want to spend about $12,000.
Rich can help you out. I'll be back to you soon, okay?
When I got to Saturn, Dave Pierce took the time to answer all my questions. Not only did I buy a Saturn, I thought it might be fun to sell them. You know what I like best about working here? Showing guys the vanity mirror.
Our banker was mortified. 2 successful lawyers, and you have a great law practice. What in the world do you want to lose all your money for? We're in show business. We're having fun. Our dream is to open a restaurant in Rome. We cannot wait until we have barbecue chicken pizza in Rome.
We have something like 4,000 employees now.
The American Express corporate card makes managing our business easier for them and easier for us.
The American Express corporate card can help you get a bigger slice of the pie.
How much longer can he last on that battery?
Hey, Larry, sometime today?
Larry Doty for the birdie.
Hooked it. Okay, I'll get him down.
The Copper Top. Tops them all.
Out of all the California champagnes under $9 ranked by the Quarterly Review of Wines, Tots was named best, which means you only have to try one. Tots, rated the best California champagne under $9.
The Vikings celebrating his 2nd sack tonight. He had 11.5 coming in. That gives him 13.5. The league leader is Kevin Green of the Steelers with 14. So Randall just a half a sack behind Green. And a lot of football left to be played here at the Metrodome.
A little floater on first down and incomplete, in and out of the arms of Chris Carter.
Eric Davis is playing one heck of a football game tonight for the 49ers, Frank.
He plays a heck of a football game every game. Unfortunately for him, at least in terms of the media, he's in the shadow of Deion Sanders, Merton Hanks, Tim McDonald, but a good, steady cornerback. He has the principles down of it so well. He gets in good position. He takes it away from Carter. Ordinarily, Carter will come down with that ball, but Davis was right there.
Davis, the only starter in the secondary not going to the Pro Bowl, as Allen picks up a couple to the 29-yard line. Ricky Jackson stops him there. 9:35 to go, third quarter. Minnesota leading 10-7. Again, the Vikings win the Central Division. As you look at Deion with the victory, they play Chicago. With a loss, they take on Detroit.
When you look at Deion, you
He's one of
see
the
the
reasons
reason why Eric Davis is so busy. That's right.
Gets all the attention. We have not called, I don't think, Deion Sanders once tonight. He was involved in one play, that interception on the part of Gary Plummer. But that's it. They have just stayed completely away from him tonight.
He's like Toots Shores. He's so good, nobody goes there anymore.
3rd and 7. And the catch is made by Jake Reed. Just does hold on for a first down of the 18-yard line.
Two wide receivers for the Vikings with Warren Moon at quarterback. They've had great years. Reed coming in with 80 receptions. On the other side, a new record by Chris Carter of 119. They're big outside men. As I said earlier, I think we're going to see major trend towards bigger wide receivers, with now the enforcing of the rule on the cornerback making it so difficult for them to knock them off stride.
From the 17, Salisbury throws, and Deion almost had a pick.
He almost did.
Well, at least they tried the other side of the field. They have been almost exclusively right-handed in their passing game tonight. Talking about the Minnesota Vikings, and at least they gave it an effort going to the left side.
Deion is so deceptive in his quickness now. He lets Carter get right on top of him. That ball just thrown a little bit behind could have been a 6-pointer.
If it's just thrown down and in front of Carter, he's got a chance to make a play on it, but not high and behind.
Boy, can Deion close on a receiver.
There's a delay, and this is Amp Lee going nowhere.
There'll be a delay in picking up yardage, too.
Well, Salisbury getting the start tonight. Again, the Vikings do expect Moon to play Sunday. There is Warren. He has 6 more days, and we were down on the field before the game, and he said, you know, I didn't feel that hot yesterday, but I think I feel well enough tonight to play. But Dennis Green said, nope, you're not playing tonight. Get ready for Sunday.
If the Vikings, too, in the sense we remember our Mexico City game when we thought Salisbury was going to be Warren Moon's replacement at Houston. He didn't, of course, make that. They cut him, and now he has come back, and he has replaced Warren Moon here.
Who could forget that thrilling night in Estadia?
Commitment to this comprehensive educational program, $1 million. NFL Charities was formed so that the NFL clubs could collectively make grants to worthy national causes. In recent years, NFL Charities has made grant commitments of more than $15 million. After the timeout by Minnesota, 3rd and 10 at the 17-yard line, and a wobbler is caught at the 8-yard line, but David Palmer had to come back to get it and doesn't pick up the first down. It's going to be 4th and a deuce.
I think that was deflected at the line of scrimmage. It looked like it took the spin off it, and Palmer did have to come back for it short of the first. Salisbury gets another one ticked. Somebody got a hand on there, right there. Forcing Palmer to come back for the ball. Lose the possible first down.
So now Fuad Reveiz will try to make it 28 straight, and that would put him within 1 of John Carney's relatively newly minted mark. He made one earlier at the end of the half from 48. This one from 27 yards. Saxon puts it down, and well, I guess Mr. Kevin Green is looking on from Pittsburgh to find out if John Aranda will get a sack, and Mr. John Carney is paying a little bit of attention from San Diego, where Fuad Reveiz is within 1 of the NFL record.
And for the Vikings right now, I think it's simple what they have to do to win the NFC Central Division Championship. Field goals are fine, turnovers are not. Right now they're entering the stage of the ball game You just don't give anything cheap to the San Francisco 49ers. You let their defense do what they do best, harass the opposition, and just be very conservative and be happy with field goals and don't turn it over.
And be happy as you look over the bench at number 8, number 80, or on the sidelines.
Again on Saturday, if the Vikings win, Chicago comes here on Sunday. Detroit goes to Green Bay Saturday. At the 5-yard line, it's Dexter Carter. Taken down at the 30. Minnesota, so tough against the rush. In fact, tonight, the 49ers are averaging just 2.3 yards per carry on the ground. And there it is, fewest rushing yards allowed per game in NFL history. The Bills back in 64, 65.2. The Vikings' current average 69.4. They would wind up with the second best mark in history.
What do coaches always say is the key to victory? Well, we got to stop the other team's run. The Vikings do it consistently.
Whoa, that'll help.
That average just
That's Roy Barker.
They're working on minus now almost.
Yeah. That's a 7-yard loss.
Roy Barker over that defensive left end spot being pushed by Robert Harris, second-round draft pick of a year ago. Barker, a fourth-round pick.
Disruption, harassment, penetration, chaos. All these things describe what the front four of the Vikings attempts to do by getting upfield so quickly. One way to describe it is that every play is a pass rush, even if you're playing the run. Get upfield.
2nd and 17. Quarterback throws. Pass is made by Ted Thompson. He takes it out to the 31.
Well, that style of defense, Dan, too, against the 49ers is very effective. They use a lot of pulling and trapping in their run offense, and this kind of penetration, as you said, just causes chaos to that type of offense. And here's the man who is the architect.
The Chaos Meister, Tony Dungy. Oh, when will that phone call come?
3rd down and 9. Well, Dungy, a hot candidate again this year, and maybe the hottest candidate of all, sitting a couple of booths down in Mike Shanahan, the 49er offensive guru. A little short of the first down. Ted Thompson makes the catch, but it's 4th down, and the Niners will have to kick.
Well, so much speculation. I've been out in the Rockies, home up in Edwards, over the past week, and so much speculation, as you said, Al, that Mike Shanahan would be going back to Denver, and that's the big talk at the Gas House, of course, down in Edwards. Dan, where they raised the price of quail, all you can eat, have gone up to $13.95 on Monday nights there.
Has it really?
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be availing yourself of the
Yes.
special.
I would never touch those little creatures.
Next Monday night? You would?
Here's Wilmsmeyer sending one to the 26-yard line into the arms of David Palmer. And the Alabama rookie brings it back to the 31, and there's a marker down right under Palmer.
Now, you wouldn't eat a quail, Frank? Wouldn't you really eat a quail?
Well,
come on, tell the truth.
Well, it used to be $11.95 for all you could eat.
Oh, I see. The extra $2
is a little out of line.
knocked you out of the quail market. Is that? Yes. I'm sure things are a little tight around the Gifford household.
Yes, well, Kathy's, they're a little short on work lately.
There's John Tierlink, former player in this league, defensive lineman, and now the architect.
Too.
Well, he looks like a defensive line coach, doesn't he? Got a little sweat going, mopping his head. He wants, Tierlink is so proud of his group. He told me tonight, I'm so glad to see you guys. The last 3 times we played on Monday night, they've got a total of 17 sacks in their 3 previous games. Make that 20 now in 4. Posted 4 on the Giants earlier this year, 9 on the Bears last year. That was a Viking team record, 4 against the Bears back in '92. These guys like the bright lights of Monday night.
2nd and 3. Terry Allen. Milton Hanks will ride him out of bounds near the marker.
Well, he just barely got away from Bryant Young again, who was in the Viking backfield.
It is a first down.
Boy, this kid's going to be a good player for a long time in this league.
He'll get bigger too. At 275, 276 on the card, probably bigger than that now, but he has great quickness and great speed.
3:25 to go in the third. Minnesota leading by 6, and Robert Smith around the left side is out of bounds at the 48-yard line. And there's Dion on the bench getting in some joy. The 49ers now beginning to rest some of their defensive regulars.
Well, as he fit into this 49er group, a lot of people thought that he wouldn't. It was a very conservative group, and under George Seifert, and look back under Bill Walsh, and if anything, he's just kind of brought them all together. He's giving them a confidence that maybe they didn't have before. Made it so easy to do so many things on defense. Been a great addition.
2nd and 4. Salisbury swings it out to the near side to Scotty Graham. Now Seifert's just a part of what has become maybe the model organization in sport. Carmen Policy should get a lot of votes for Executive of the Year. The president of the team, everybody said, how could he do it? How could he sign all these guys? Everybody took a look, and there is Carmen looking on with Dwight Clark on the left and the 49er front office as well.
You know, we ought to take a minute.
Eddie DeBartolo on the left.
Yeah, whose father died a week ago, and on behalf of all of us here, our regrets to the passing of Ed DeBartolo Sr. Of course, that's Roger Craig, former 49er great.
3rd and 4. The catch is made by Chris Carter, who adds to his NFL record. Tackled by Drakeford, and an aggressive move by Dedrick Dodge.
Well, with Sanders on the bench, Drakefield, the rookie at the corner, they decide to go over in the left side to the Vikings. Good move by Carter. Far more than the high jumper he was with the Philadelphia Eagles when they let him go after the 1990 season, when he had 11 touchdowns, all of them just fade routes into the end zone.
How often you see a receiver do that? Throw a form right in the chops of a defensive back.
He's an I'm open to guy. He wants the ball. He wants the football. Very intense. And he has developed into an all-around fine receiver. The NFL record for the most receptions, of course.
3 tonight, and he broke Sterling Sharp's mark, which had lasted only a year. Sharp, in fact, had broken his own record set the prior year. Chris now with 122 for the season. Salisbury looking for Jake Reed, and he's out of bounds, and it was Davis glued to him.
He wasn't just a little out of bounds, he was well out of bounds.
He was in a diner.
Eric's going to the official. Hey, it's not my fault Dion's on the other side.
He has drawn the attention tonight. He's given away about 4 inches to both Reed and to Carter. But he has turned in some fine cornerback tonight.
Get used to it, Eric.
3rd down and 8. 1 minute to go in the period. Vikings up by 6.
Whoa!
And it is Qadry Ismail making the catch. Tackled at the 1 by Eric Davis.
Not all that bad position either on the part of Eric Davis. Qadry Ismail going up and coming down with it.
Well, both 49er safeties are playing way too close to the line of scrimmage, and they offer no help whatsoever to the middle of the field, and Eric Davis left all alone. Take a look at this. Both the 49er safeties are 20 yards away from Qadry Ismail. And that is a tough pattern to defend for Eric Davis all by his little lonesome.
He did not have bad position, however.
No,
just a good catch and a good fight for the ball on the part of Ismail.
And the 49er safeties in this instance, Dana Hall and Dedrick Dodge, not Burton Hanks and Tim McDonald.
Yeah.
And Salisbury has to take a timeout. 3rd and 8 was the play, and the gain was 38.
Look at that shot of the football. That's magnificent. And it's really very good position by Eric Davis. It's just you have to credit the play of Qadry Ismail and the throw of Salisbury. Both of them right there.
And a great look at it for you at home.
But I can only assume that Eric Davis thought that, or at the very least was hoping for some inside support.
Well, Ishmael is their deep guy. They like to use his speed, and he's got it. And you would suspect that he would have inside help.
Well, they're in the shotgun formation as well. And so the running play, not really a threat where you think the safeties are going to come flying up to support the run in a third and very short.
Qadry Ismail, the junior Rocket. Now Qadry's going to the playoffs. Not so his brother. Rocket and the Raiders home for the rest of the holidays. First and goal at the 1. Terry Allen up and over. Touchdown. McDaniel lined up in the backfield as he does on numerous occasions and helped to lead the way. And they'll go for 2 with the score 19-7.
Terry Allen, what a story he is.
Up and away.
Missed all of his first year with knee surgery, came back in 92. And the second year with knee surgery, came back in 92 with over 1,200 yards and missed all of last year and back with a 1,000-yard season this year.
2 points will give them 21 and a 14-point lead, and they've got it. Terry Allen. He's in there. So all 8 points credited to Terry Allen. '49ers are down by 14.
Happy days. Rain in the Metrodome in Minneapolis. They are looking at their Vikings taking a 21-7 lead on the 49ers.
Just a little more than a quarter to go, and they will go 10-6 and take the Central Division of the NFC.
Terry Allen, a beautiful hole off to the right side. Chris Hinton, Daphne Christie. He's in, and then he's repelled. That's the left leg of Red Hall. Red Hall, number 91, that using all of his body to try to make it. He's right there on the center, 91. Watch his left leg.
That's why you're glad you have that cage in there.
Oh, that's a penalty if it's seen by the official. You can't do that to try to tackle. But give him some credit for at least trying to do everything he can to keep the guy out of the end zone.
9 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Vikings trying to win the NFC Central and host Chicago Sunday.
And Dennis Green told us everybody in the Central Division, with the exception of Detroit, is glad they don't have to go to Detroit. That the Lions are a totally different team when they play in the Silverdome. And everybody in that division is glad that Detroit's going to play on the road.
Claude Reves kicks off. Taken at the 5-yard line by Dexter Carter. Good special teams tackle by Robert Griffin. And that will be the end of the third quarter. We'll go to the fourth, with the Vikings leading 21-7, and Monday Night Football returns after this from our ABC station.
Thursday, my exclusive interview with sitting Supreme Court Justice Ruth Ginsburg. You'll be surprised by her views on women, life, and politics. Plus, guess who's ringing in the holiday cheer? Primetime, Thursday.
Saturday, Tony goes up against the super rich.
He killed her.
He's your father.
We didn't pick him.
A New Year's Eve commish. Saturday, here on ABC.
Tonight at 11 on Channel 7 News, an earthquake caused moderate damage in Eureka.
Final quarter of the regular season. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan at the Metrodome. where the Vikings lead 21-7 as they try to wrap up the NFC Central Division crown. Niners have it at the 14-yard line. Gerbach throws. The catch is made up at the 32 by Ted Popson. We were talking about Mike Shanahan before, the offensive coordinator. He may be the hottest guy right now in terms of coaching possibilities. We hate to fuel speculation when we don't have the particulars. I don't know what Denver's going to do. Wade Phillips still has another year. But Mike was offered that job 2 years ago. He was the first choice. In fact, when Mike was the head coach of the Raiders in '88, on a Monday night, they trailed 24-0, came from behind and won the game. And there he was shaking hands with Dan Reeves. Shanahan was fired by the Raiders the next year. Went back to Denver as an assistant coach as Carter's taken down. Then to the Niners. You recall, guys, he was the first choice of Pat Bowlen, but he turned it down. Then he said, the next time I want to make a decision I'm happy with. Well, he may have to make a decision down the line here, whether it's Denver or someplace else.
No question, he's inherited a great, talented group of football players, but he has done a tremendous amount with it.
Meanwhile, we've got a flag on that last play and a personal foul, and Dexter Carter has the look of a guy who's done for the night. Ron Blum will tell us about it.
Personal foul, 35. Unnecessary roughness, threw a punch. He has been disqualified. 15 yards.
All right, that's Dexter Carter on the ground right there. He's getting a little nudge there from Tuaolo, and a very short right cross, and out of here. And he'll have to leave the sidelines. You can't stay on the sidelines after you have been, in NFL jargon, disqualified.
Well, you see that, and the only thing he could accomplish would be to injure his hand or his arm. You're not going to hurt anyone swinging a fist in this game.
2nd and 24. Adam Walker is the sole setback here.
Drew Randall.
And the catch made by Brett Carolyn.
John Randall almost became the NFL sack leader right there. Man, what an explosive move to the quarterback.
Carolyn's father played this game. Carolyn is from Washington State, set some receiving marks up there, but his father played with the Kansas City Chiefs, Reg Carolyn, and also the San Diego Chargers. So he's quite proud of his youngster.
3rd down and 18, early 4th quarter. Vikings up by 14. There's a flag, and there's no play here. This play was over before it ever started. McCaffrey was the intended receiver, but the play was blown dead. The crowd is so loud, though, the players couldn't hear it.
Can a play be over before it ever started?
If we deem it so.
That's prior to the snap, 85 offense, false start, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
That's a phrase we all use, but stop and think about it. If it never started to begin, that's like if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it really make any noise?
How about if we said it was officially over?
Or it just never was?
We're losing focus.
In the annals of history, 3rd down and 23. And a little dump off. Oh, incomplete pass. They're not going to call it a sack. That was John Randall.
Randall wants to
close. I'll bet you he knows that one more gets him the
of course
championship.
And that's as good a series as a defensive lineman can have. Almost sacks the quarterback twice.
Kevin Green holding his breath.
Oh, yeah. Rod Milstead holding his breath.
Yep.
He's outclassed on that quick move to the outside by John Randall.
49ers to kick again. Klaus Wilmsmeyer has been a busy man tonight, and that's something that doesn't happen in San Francisco very often. A beauty. David Palmer backs up, takes it at the 29. Brings it back to the 37-yard line. A 53-yard punt by Klaus. 12:56 left in the regulation. The Vikes by 14.
The deal of the year on
interest, I know, to Mr. Deerdorf, a St. Louis resident. I talked to John Shaw, the executive vice president of the Rams today, and he said, we've resolved most of the major issues. There are a couple of other issues that remain in regard to the Rams moving to St. Louis. But we've made substantial progress toward making a deal with St. Louis. If completed, it will be announced within the next 30 days.
I think it's a foregone conclusion that the Rams are going to attempt to move to St. Louis. I think the major stumbling block now, will the league oppose it?
Absolutely.
And we'll wait till this play is over, which it is.
Before it starts.
before it starts. It is an extraordinary financial package that has been put on the table by St. Louis to the Rams. And it's just hard for me to imagine anybody passing that offer up, because it is of colossal dollars. It is really large.
The other thing in regard to the Rams is, what about Chuck Knox? I asked John Shaw about that today. He said they'll address the coaching situation within the next 2 weeks. Pass here is incomplete.
Well, Chuck Knox, one of the good guys that's ever been involved in this game in the National Football League. And whatever happens, I know one thing. The National Football League has been richer over the last several decades for having Chuck Knox been a part of it.
Well, that's been well put. He had great success early on with the Rams, wherever he's been. Up in Seattle. Done a fine job.
3rd down and 10. Salisbury asking for quiet. The crowd doing the wave. Blitz. Initially picked up, and then the pocket collapses, and it's Dennis Brown who gets the sack.
But you know what? If you're Sean Salisbury, smart play. Don't force the ball. Don't turn it over. Don't do anything to put your return and kickoff return duty for the 49ers once they get into the money games.
For more historic moments, watch a whole new ball game coming in 2 weeks on ABC.
Well, as our 25th season winds down, we want to acknowledge the great people behind the show every week. Jack O'Hara is the executive producer, and Kenzo Wolf, our man, the Wolf.
That's how big he appears to all of us.
That's a picture of Kenny right there. 11:38 to go in the 4th. Vikings on top, 21-7. Elvis throws, and the catch is made by McCaffrey. Breaking tackles, and Ed McCaffrey takes it all the way down to the 33-yard line.
Former Giants 3rd-round pick in '91, came as a free agent this year, and we've not seen that much action behind the likes of Jerry Rice and John Taylor and Nate Singleton, really the 3rd receiver. That ball deflected there by Bobby Abrams, and good concentration on the part of the 6'5" McCaffrey.
Isn't football a great game? It's the only sport in the world where you make a good play and then you get pummeled by your teammates. They sprint out onto the field and pound on your head, your shoulders.
First down at the 33-yard line. Adam Walker. And he takes it to the 20-yard line. They're down to their last running back in effect, because Mark Logan's inactive. Derek LaVille is inactive. Ben Harvey has been our associate producer this season, as always, doing a great job. Jaime Bravo, our associate director, the great Jaime. Kirk Gowdy Jr. producing our halftime segments this season, which were directed by Larry Kahn. At the 19-yard line, 1st and 10 for San Francisco with 10:15 remaining in the 4th quarter. And there's another one of those plays that's over before it starts, Dan.
Yes. False start. Number 75. Tell them over and over. Wait for the snap count before you go.
1st and 15. Elvis, and it's picked off by Vince Glenn. And the only good news for the Niners is that he stepped out before he went into the end zone. He's down at the 1. That's where the Vikings will get it.
Oh, and Vince Glenn, who came from New Orleans in '92, has really fit into Tony Dungy's version of a zone defense. He is just lying back, reading the eyes of quarterback Elvis Grbac, breaks for the ball, it gets there, comes down with the interception. Good play, Vince Glenn.
Well, Glenn was open, and Grbac hit him.
Salisbury gives it to Terry Allen, who takes it out to the 5-yard line.
Now for the Vikings is control the ball, move it on the ground if they can, work on that clock, and they pretty much locked up the Central Division. That means they got Chicago coming in here a week from tomorrow, and they've beaten Chicago 6 consecutive times.
Well, this is 2 hands on the football territory. Woe be to the Viking that fumbles the ball down here.
And you'll be reminded in every huddle.
Terry Allen up to the 9-yard line. 49ers will fly home after the game, get back to the Bay Area in the wee hours. And we mentioned before, their game has already been set for Saturday, January 7th. They'll host a game on Saturday. Dallas will host a game on Sunday in the NFC that weekend.
And barring any type of serious injury here in the last 8.5 minutes of this football game, the 49ers will go into the playoffs in pretty good shape health-wise.
3rd down and 2. Catch made by Ant Lee. And a 1st down.
It's one of the benefits of winning the division, and we can't use tonight's game as a criteria, but should the Vikings continue in the playoffs, they in all probability will down the line meet the Cowboys rather than the 49ers, who probably are the hottest team, even though we're not seeing it tonight because of their use of their personnel. The Cowboys are a little bit of a glitch as far as they're concerned, and I think Vikings would welcome them much more than the 49ers in the playoffs.
Well, on the surface, the 49ers appear to be considerably healthier than the Dallas Cowboys right now. Catch is made up at the 21 by Jake Reed. You've got, Aikman coming back from the injury. What about Emmitt Smith? Michael Irvin with a recurring thigh problem.
But they are the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions.
And that week off really helps.
I think a lot of people have looked at the way Dallas played the last couple weeks of the season, have balanced that against the way the 49ers have played. And I think you'd be very erroneous to jump to any conclusions that the 49ers are already in Miami on the 29th. They're a long way away.
Terry Allen.
Anybody who has to play the Dallas Cowboys is a long way away.
Speaking of Allen, they have Larry Allen to run down any interceptors.
That's right. Well, I see you saw that number 73 there, Todd Stussy, for the Vikings. It reminded you of Larry Allen of the Cowboys, who made that. See you guys. I know you really liked it. You just like to let me have
it. 2nd down and 14. You still love it. That pass is intended for somebody. Chris Carter. Dana Hall with the coverage.
I think he one-hopped that in the direction of Dion. Who's on the sideline.
There he is.
Yep.
3rd and long, he'll come back. Well, he won't either. I thought he was going to come back with the nickel.
Is Dion eating peanuts on the sidelines? Or what is?
Whatever it is, half America will be eating it tomorrow.
It's a terrible thing to get the munchies on the sideline.
3rd down and 14 at the 13-yard line. Salisbury.
Whoa! Well, Salisbury got hit right on the knee. Boy, if he gets, well, it looks like he's going to be okay. Boy, he's a little hobbled.
Troy Wilson knocked him down. Brad Johnson is their backup quarterback tonight.
Boy, that's one of those things you can see it coming. That Wilson was down low and going to end up right around Salisbury's knee. Ooh. Luckily, Sean was able to pick that thing up and scoot it a little bit along the turf. Didn't take as serious a blow as he could have. That could have been a devastating shot. There is Brad Johnson. He has all of 37 attempts so far this season. After Warren Moon, things got a little thin in Minnesota.
Saxon sends a beauty down in the direction of Nate Singleton. It gets a block. Flag down. Singleton takes it back to the 50-yard line after a punt that covers 45 yards. And the penalty is against Minnesota.
Sean started his career at Seattle back in the mid-'80s and went up and had a good career in the Canadian
Holding,
League.
68, kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down.
6:49 remaining in the fourth quarter as the Vikings go to the 9-yard line. Burbach throws. Catch is made by Nate Singleton, and that's a first down to the 34. And you talk about the guys in the tape truck. What can you say about?
Not necessarily the group you'd like to bring home to mom, but very talented.
But Dad would enjoy him. From the 34-yard line, this is Adam Walker taking it to the 24.
We'll settle for not frightening.
2nd and 1. 5:35 remaining in the fourth quarter. Adam Walker. And he is stopped a little short of the first down. Again, if Minnesota wins this game, they'll play Chicago. There's one other thing, and a possible Green Bay Minnesota game would be played in Green Bay. You know, chances, we understand the chances of Dallas and San Francisco losing are slim, but.
Injuries we spoke of a moment ago, they're going to make a big difference. And how it comes along, the games that they have struggled in and lost have been with Emmett on the bench.
Third and millimeters at the 24. Burbach throws. First down. Ed McCaffrey hauls it in at the 15-yard line.
Interesting call
up here in Minneapolis.
First and 10 at the 15. Catch is made by Ted Popson, and he takes it inside the 1. Ed McDaniel preventing the touchdown, at least momentarily.
And now Elvis Burbach is rolling across the body of Ed McDaniel, trying to get the ball in the end zone, and he almost pulled it off.
First and goal inside the 1. Walker goes in motion. Burbach's going to roll and throw, and the catch is made for a touchdown by Ed McCaffrey.
Good drive.
Things got a little quiet in here.
Well, I'll tell you what, things are pretty interesting, I would think, in the offices right now of the Bears and the Lions as they prepare for their opponents this weekend.
Packers have an interest in this as well, as they don't know who they'll play.
You know, different hotels and all the transportation involved. We know what that's about.
Ed McCaffrey, boy, good move. Working to the outside, then just settling back into the zone, and he gets lost. Vincey Glenn, the one Viking who makes a move towards McCaffrey. That not a stellar case of pass defense by the Vikes.
Point after by Doug Bryant is good. So with 3:53 left in regulation, it is now 21-14 Minnesota. If you're Wayne Fonts right now, you're the guy really under the gun in a way, the Detroit staff, because they're going to have to play, if they play Green Bay. Doug Bryant sends a one-hopper down to the 5-yard line. Robert Smith comes back to the 29-yard line. So that much time is left. Each team has one timeout remaining.
And now it's not only hold on to the ball, but it's let's move the ball. Let's work on the clock.
All right.
An offense that got very conservative for the Vikings a short while ago. Now going to have to loosen up a little.
Salisbury back in the game. Came limping off after the last series. First and 10 at the 29-yard line.
A couple first downs are what Denny Green is ordering up for his Vikings.
And they pick up about 3 here. Scotty Graham up to the 32-yard line. Three and a half minutes remaining in regulation. Warren Moon, and that's going to set up a 3rd and 2, and the 49ers are going to take a timeout here. Try to hold them on 4th down. So the season winds down. Been a pretty fascinating season. We've got, again, 2 dominant teams in the NFC, and then several others. And we'll wrap it up, of course, on the 29th of January. It's our year to cover the Super Bowl at Joe Robbie Stadium.
Looking forward to being there Saturday and watching Dan Marino and Joe Montana. What a couple of great ones they've been over the years.
When you factor in the playoff atmosphere, the electricity, the tension, the sense of surprise to see in the playoff picture from the very beginning. I mean, these are two ball clubs and figured early on to be playoff teams. Both of them at times during the season struggled, haven't looked all that great, but then came on with a surge at the end when they had to.
That was a first down. It appeared to be a wry smile, but a little frustration evident in the face of George Seifert. I mean, here's a guy who has nothing to win and nothing to lose for this game, but he just wants to win. And they're going to see in all likelihood now, assuming this.
I think either way he went tonight with the personnel, he's going to be criticized by some and applauded by others, but I think he did the right thing. He did the thing he felt was important for my ball club. He was not concerned about Green Bay
football. He's being paid by Ed DeBartolo.
Hard to find fault with that number.
First and 10 from the 39-yard line. And Graham. 49ers have it at the 43-yard line. 2nd and 6. A smiling Dion. Well, one of the reasons he went to San Francisco was to get the ring, as he put it. And he's 3 victories away from getting the ring.
One of the parts of the new world of free agency in the NFL will be players like Deion Sanders going to a winning club for less money than they get offered by a club farther down in the standings, and something I'm not sure a lot of people figured into the equation.
Here's Scotty Graham, and he's going to get the first down, and they'll be able to run the clock out a little way now. Dedrick Dodge tackles him.
That is it.
San Fran cannot stop the clock, so the 49ers this season, and then tonight they're going to wind up 13-3.
And this first down is not lost upon the crowd. Most of them have remained here. Now they'll start to file out, but this one is locked up for Denny Green, Central Division of the NFC champions.
What a crushing block by Chris Hinton on that last play. I think Denny Green might be giving some instructions. Don't even think about dousing me with that cold stuff.
And I'd listen.
Yes, he didn't look like a...
Saturday, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Our pregame show begins a half hour earlier, and then at 4 o'clock Eastern time, and they are, I think, getting a bucket ready for Dennis Green. Kansas City will take on Miami Sunday, New England against Cleveland on NBC, and Chicago, Minnesota on Fox late. That's your playoff schedule this weekend.
Here comes Del Rio and Vince Glenn. Look out, Denny. What a pathetic effort.
Yeah, bogus dousing.
Really?
Not an all-pro dousing.
That's right.
No.
Congratulations to the Minnesota Vikings, champions of the NFC Central.
Yeah, and congratulations to the San Francisco 49ers. Great season.
Warren Moon getting ready for action Sunday. Steve Young getting ready for action on January the 7th. The playoffs begin this Saturday. We're covering the games from Green Bay and from Miami, so be with us. Great action coming up on Saturday. Until then, final score 21.
Combinations of man and zone. Just ask Troy Aikman. That's how he got in trouble in that past ball game. And don't forget, Deion Sanders got away with a pass interference call in that last game, so the officials will be keeping a close eye on him in this one.
Well, we've done our job. We've given the Chargers an opportunity to win this game if they just follow our game plan. That's the tough part. The easy part, for them to go out and implement it. Oh, yes. You know, more than 80 million of you saw the NFC Championship game on television, and now you can relive what was billed as the real Super Bowl.
In San Francisco, NFC Championship games are only slightly less common than fog rolling over the Golden Gate. But for the game many people call the de facto Super Bowl, expectations were high.
The real Super Bowl right now. This is war. Going for 3, start the day. Full speed. Skip out the prelim, baby. Let's kick this ball off now, baby. It's going to be a whoop tonight. Yes, sir, buddy. Watch this. Do or die. Do or die.
Coast bluster has become the Cowboys' signature, but the 49ers had a loftier perspective and a more convincing tone.
Hey, that's enough talk. That's enough talk. They ain't gonna have them. That's another take it, baby. Let's take it.
And if anyone doubted the Niners' resolve, the game's fourth play should have answered any questions.
Away. Eric Davis picks it off. He's got a lane down the left side. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown 49ers. Novacek couldn't get him. He was in perfect position to pick the ball.
Eric Davis's stunning score set the tone for a furious 4-minute spasm, which saw 3 Dallas turnovers punctuated by the same number of 49ers scores. On the Cowboys' next possession, Blitzkrieg struck again.
Sends it down the left side. Ball is caught and knocked down. That could be a fumble. 49ers pick it up. Let's see what they call here, whether that's... Yes, it is a fumble. 49ers have the ball again. Tim McDonald. Taylor comes out to the left side, and so does Rice. And a fake to Waters, and Young pump fakes, then goes back to Ricky the other way. He's all alone at the 20, down to the 10. He's at the 5. He dives. He's into the end zone. It should, well, he got out. Yes, touchdown 49ers. He got in right at the pylon.
As instant as it was incredible, San Francisco had a 2-touchdown lead. But if Dallas thought it couldn't get worse, they were mistaken. For on the ensuing kickoff, the carnage continued.
And Williams, who grabs it at the 8-yard line. Kevin comes into the middle of the field, cuts to his left to the 20. Gets to the 25, and he's out near the 30-yard line. Ball is fumbled. 49ers have it again. Unbelievable. Doug Bryant lands on the ball for San Francisco.
At the 35-yard line. Great field position again.
With a short field, the 49ers scored their 3rd touchdown in short order.
Double tight end. Rice a wing on the left side. Waters and Floyd, they give it to Floyd. He gets in easy, standing up. Washington grabs him. It's too late. 49ers, after 7.5 minutes of this game, lead 20-0.
William Floyd gave San Francisco 21 reasons to celebrate. But with more than 52 minutes to play, Dallas knew that being down a ton gave them time to atone.
This is just unbelievable.
Letting the playmaker play is always good policy. And with ample protection, Dallas steadied its legs and got down to the gritty business of coming back.
Here's the 3rd and 23. And Aikman is back. They double team Jackson. Aikman a deep ball. He's got a man down the left side. He beat double coverage, and Aikman to Irvin goes 44 yards, and the game might be on yet.
Well, what a great throw.
Get in there,
Still, Dallas was hardly crisp, and Chris Boniol's missed field goal didn't help the cause. And while the histrionics probably didn't either, there was still hope.
Hey, wait, listen. It's a lot. Football now.
After the 49ers kicked a field goal of their own, the Cowboys answered by driving 59 yards to the San Francisco 4-yard line, where Mr. Automatic took over.
And they sweep it left to Smith with a pitch. Lead blockers banging near the goal line. Touchdown, Emmitt Smith with 1:56 left.
Trailing by 10 points with just over a minute to play, Dallas pondered, then promptly squandered a chance to run out the clock. And with so little time left in the half, Steve Young didn't have much choice but to throw for the end zone. With the NFL's all-time touchdown leader split wide, the only real question was whether he would face double or triple coverage.
Young goes back to throw, sets up, goes for the end zone. Rice is out there. Touchdown 49ers! Touchdown 49ers! What a play! 28 yards. Touchdown pass San Francisco. Rice beat Larry Brown.
How could you not know that was coming?
And speaking of spikes and nails, maybe that's it.
I think that might be the one.
What a turnaround, and that's what the 49ers can quite honestly do.
Coming up, highlights of the Chargers come from behind thriller and an interview with their quarterback Stan Humphries.
Football League, of course, I'm talking about Steve Young, and get his thoughts on this first half of the football game. Steve, you guys, within about 8 minutes, you're up 21-0. What were you thinking at the time?
Well, I thought it was really important that we got those 7 points out of those turnovers. You know, it's great to get turnovers early in the game, and when it was 21-0, my feeling was just don't let them make big plays. If they have to earn every touchdown, you know, we were pretty much in control of the game. But I knew there was a lot of game left, and with the Cowboys, it certainly wasn't over with 21-0.
Steve Young, boy, what a difference a year makes. You know, this year you rip into George Seifert because he takes you out of the Philadelphia game, and then on Sunday against Dallas, you jump all over rookie Adam Walker because he has that dumb penalty. You're really emotional. What's changed from this year and last year?
Nick, I don't know. I think in the past, I think I tried to just be the example as far as, you know, play hard, keep your mouth shut, lead the team that way. And this year I realized that you could actually lead the team by doing that, plus, you know, letting people know how you feel. And I think the first time I did that was with George, and I really didn't mean to. I think it just started seeping out the sides of me, and as it broke loose, the rest of the year, I got more and more vocal. In fact, a lot of guys are telling me to shut up now. They're getting sick of me.
Steve, you're such a hardcore guy now, but I want you to take me back to the end of that first half. How surprised were you to actually get the football and then to see the coverage that allowed you to throw deep with only 14 seconds to go in the half and really not much help deep on Jerry Rice?
Yeah, I was very shocked because you know we had to go to the end zone. Any play in the, you know, that kept the clock going, we weren't going to get the field goal team on, so our only shot was go to the end zone. I think the thing that helped us was looking off the corner, because the corner was trying to look inside to see where the ball was going, and by the time he saw me turn to go that way, Jerry had slipped behind him. To us, probably the play of the game because it reestablished our momentum going into the half, 31-14.
Steve, please stick with us if you would. We're going to take a look at the second half highlights and maybe take a look at Steve Young at the game's end to see how he reacts in just a few minutes. Great champions die hard, and the Dallas Cowboys were no exception. Here's the final 30 minutes of the NFC title game.
The Dallas Cowboys, despite being down 21-0 after 3 turnovers on their first 3 possessions, have kept fighting back.
For the defending world champions, hope fell from the sky.
Short kick, fielded and fumbled at the 20-yard line, rolling around loose. Dallas got the football back.
This game just won't let anybody up for air, will it? They just won't let anybody up for air.
And goal from the 1, hand off to the hamstring, and it's in for the touchdown.
Emmitt Smith pounds it back in, and back to a 10-point game again. This thing